Hello. I had a friend who homeschools who is planning to do earth science with her children this year. And she was asking, saying that as she's making her plans, she would like to have something in her curriculum that discusses flat earth versus globe. And I sent her a playlist and she's like, oh, and the playlist has 15 videos in it. So I'm like, I will make you a nutshell video. So this is the nutshell video. Hopefully I can make it pretty quick and hopefully everything will make sense. And anyway, hi, I'm Dawnita from prairie-trail.com. And I like to wear a very fabulous tin hat and talk about fun things. So you can find me on Amazon. I've got books that you might be interested. If you're on this video, the book Star Chronicles, a Bible-based study of the stars. It is a study of the constellations and how they relate to prophecy. And it's very interesting. It's based on an older book from the 1800s. You might be interested in that. If you go to my community, you can get it and then in PDF, and then you can get the color book for free. So anyway, with no more ado, let us go into it. I made slides for this, so I'm feeling pretty nifty. What if the earth is flat? Let's just check this out. Okay, first of all, we need to start out with a baseline, okay? And I am a Bible believer, so let's start with the word of our Creator and what you actually believe. We need to start with where our mindset is. Okay, do you believe that His word is true? Do you believe His word is from the beginning? Do you believe a 500 plus year old person was intelligent? Okay, Noah and everybody before him lived over 500 years, pretty much everybody. Okay, because if you believe that the biblical writers based their knowledge off of the people around them, if you believe that God had to dumb down his word to biblical writers so that they would understand based on their own superstitions, if you understand that 500-year-old people or 900-year-old people before the flood were unsophisticated, unintelligent, and had basically a caveman mentality, then you need to move along. Don't waste your time on this video. Thank you for visiting. I'll see you later. Okay. But if you believe that people before the flood, if somebody lived to be 900 years old, they would have technology and amazing intelligence and skills, especially if their DNA was as flawed as ours is today. My my camera is having issues, so it may blip in and out. And right now, I'm just not even going to pay any attention to that. So you're going to see my little icon in there and my photo instead because my camera's having issues. So I'll mess with that later. Okay. We have what archaeologists call antediluvian architecture. And antediluvian is a fancy word that means before the deluge, before the flood. So even scientists who say that they are atheists or whatever, even they consider some of the architecture that they find and artifacts that they find to be so advanced that they call them antediluvian, before the deluge, before the flood. Okay. So that's just something to consider. I do have videos on that. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And I'd be happy to dig into some of that stuff. When you ask me a question, when you put a question in the comments, I do not believe that I have all the answers, but what I want to do is go with you and take you with me on a journey to look for those answers. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so in the Bible, And there are Bible verses that the people who believe in the globe and are believers will use to prove that the earth is a globe. Okay. Uh, so, Bible verses aren't going to prove anything, but these are the Bible verses that talk about things like the foundations of the earth, which is different than the symbolic and historical meaning of the term foundations of the world. Okay. World foundations. Um, there are verses that talk about pillars. There are verses that talk about a firmament over us. There are verses that talk about windows in the firmament. And there are verses that talk about the sun moving backwards or stopping in the sky. Okay. So those are very compelling. And they are in the Bible. This is definitely not all, but I wanted to just give you a basis of things that you can look up and say, hey, what does this say? What did this mean to the people at the time? What did God mean whenever he was downloading this information to the writers? And just, use some critical thinking and think about this yourself. Okay. Another thing, nobody believes this. Nobody believes there is a pancake flying through space. Nobody believes this. So if you've run into flat earth society, that is not anything that anybody prescribes to. The people that are members of that are not part of the modern flat earth movement. They aren't even part of, back in the 1800s, the early 1900s, biblical based people who believed in biblical cosmology. This is not it. Nobody believes in this. Okay, for the most part, we don't even believe in space, much less not in the way that we've been taught anyway. And I will get to that. But nobody believes that anybody's going to fall off the edge of the earth. Nobody believes that. Columbus did not believe that. Nobody else believed that. Okay, that's not what it was. Okay, this is a worldwide belief. Okay, the ancient Israelites believed that we were on pillars. We had the foundations of the earth, that this was a great abyss. God in the beginning, hovered over the waters and said, let there be light. So we believe that there is waters above and waters below, just like the Bible says. The Egyptians believed in a firmament over the top and waters and a boat. And one of the constellations is a ship. Okay. The Babylonian view of the cosmos was cosmic waters, and it's not completely flat, guys. Okay. Whenever we look out across the horizon, I live on the Great Plains, it's not completely flat. Even people who drive out here and think it's completely flat, it's not. The Incans, the Mayans, Hindus, Sumerians, Norse, the Vikings. This is Russian. There's a Russian, and they've got a firmament over the top of this, and it's a whole thing. Okay, this is worldwide. Japan, China, everybody, pretty much. Okay. The constellations. This is one of the big things that astronomy is one of my huge things. They cannot see you. You can get up and actually walk. You're hiding from the camera. Okay, the constellations, whenever you do a time lapse over the top of us, they go around in a circle. All right, we are told that we've got something similar to this. Of course, it's much further apart, right? So they can't fit it in the pictures the way it supposedly is. It's, trillions of miles apart from each other, and that it is flying through, spiraling through space. But this is what we see right here. This is what we see. And what we see is the same constellations all year long. So if we are on one side of the sun, let's say the Earth is here right now. Hopefully you can see my cursor. Okay. And it's winter. So we see all of these constellations, right? but we see the sun on this side, so we wouldn't see these constellations. And then when we're over here on this side in the summer, we would see these constellations, but we would not see these constellations on the other side of the sun, right? But that's not what we observe. We observe all of the constellations spiraling over the top of us. Different ones are more prominent at different times of the year, but these are the same constellation. Plus, if we're spiraling through space, why would we see the same constellations today that Noah saw whenever he was on the ark? And again, if you get my book, then you will see that, yes, Noah saw the same constellations that we see today. The Egyptians have the same constellations listed. Everybody's got the same constellations. The Native Americans have the same constellations. They call them different things. The Orion is the great hunter, I think, and the Pleiades were the seven sisters for pretty much everybody. The Chinese constellations are just a little bit different, but they are still the same stars, still based off of the same stars. Okay. Okay, 5, perspective. Here is a big thing. We have a vanishing point. We have, whenever we're looking out across, and definitely out in the plains, if you're not living in the plains, it's a little harder to get this, but artists are taught this. And being an artist, this was a really easy one for me to understand. If you're not an artist, then this may be a little bit harder for you to understand. But artists are taught perspective. And when you're going down a road, if you're going down 412 or Highway 3 out here, across the Oklahoma Panhandle, it is fairly straight and long, and you can only see so far. Okay, you can only see so far. But if you get a camera or a pair of binoculars, you can see further. Okay. But it's just the way our perspective looks. We have a vanishing point. So that boat that they're saying is going over the horizon. If you get a pair of binoculars or a camera and you zoom in, you'll find the boat. Again, it didn't go over the curve. It just went out of your vanishing point, out of your line of sight perspective. The curvature formula is 8 inches per square mile. 0.666 of a foot. Isn't that interesting? Okay, 6, airplane flight patterns. We are told that airplanes have to fly going up and over in these curves. And they've got reasons, right? But intercontinental routes, these are official maps, okay? These are official maps. Intercontinental maps, look what they use. They use a flat Earth map. And if you get a Gleason map, which is from the 1800s, a Gleason map, which is this one back behind here, I probably should have had a picture of it up. If you get a Gleason map and you get flight radar on your phone or look it up on your computer and look at the flight patterns that are going across the country. And since we're not too terribly far from Dallas, Texas, which is a major airport, we can see, as a matter of fact, from Dallas, Texas, we have airplanes going over us, going directly over us across, going here and here and here and here and here. Okay. So those flight patterns make more sense and go straight on a flat map rather than, and like I said, these are official flight maps. Emergency landings, and Eddie with Flat Earth Banjo on YouTube, he does really great, and he's got a book, and I will try to put a link in the description. He has a whole emergency landings thing, and he's got a book that has a bunch of emergency landings and how the emergency landings do not make sense on what they say it is. It makes total and complete sense on the Gleason map. Okay, number 7, NASA. This right here is an AI overview of NASA's origins. Werner von Braun was he was from Nazi. Um, they inducted Nazis. The occult history behind Aleister Crowley, and this has an article on that. This is pbs.org, NOVA, how NASA makes those spectacular images. Okay, they make those images. They make them. Okay, and they will tell you there are videos, interviews of the artists who actually do that. NASA, yeah, NASA anyway. Okay, and then here's a nasa.gov, and this talks about the composites. And image composites are fusing several images together, taking in an overlapping sequence, and the latest composites that they've put together. They are spectacular at CGI and Photoshop, period. End of story. The Antarctic Treaty was signed in December 1959 by 12 countries at the time, and now includes, well, as of 2019, includes 54 countries. I don't know how many it includes now. But we can't agree on anything, and we want to ban certain social media platforms because we can't get along with people and don't trust them, but we've got this treaty. And why? Why? Does that make sense to you? Video. Do you want to work? All right, video. And then have one more thing, and we're almost done. Okay, these are some photos that my husband has taken with this Nissan P900 camera. Okay, these are, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it's kind of, these are wind towers up in Kansas, 75 miles north of us. Okay, 75 miles north of us. There's another one. A little hard to see because it does get hazy, but that's 75 miles. We're not supposed to be able to see over the curvature 75 miles. And this is flat land in between us and them, okay? 75 miles. All right, here's the moon. Here's the moon. And I have a lot of videos of his thing. Here's the sun. Here are sunspots. Here's the sun. Got clouds in front of it. It looks like it's got clouds behind it too. Now, believing in the flat earth, we just believe with biblical cosmology that these are much, much closer than what we're told. Okay? Much closer than what we're told. I mean, the amount of detail that he can pull in a camera. Sunspots, again. The detail. And the Bible says he created two great lights, one to rule the day and the other to rule the night. And if you go to the book of Enoch, which I believe was on Noah's Ark, that Noah brought with him, the first book of Enoch, not the others, the first book of Enoch, it explains even more about the sun and the moon. And it says that they are the same size. And when my husband does these, when my husband takes these pictures and does these images, they are the same size. Again, perspective and, atmospheric conditions and stuff do make a difference. But yeah, we can see a lot further than what we're supposed to be able to see. And the sun and the moon are a lot clearer than what they probably should be if they are that far away. So anyway, that is that kind of wraps it up. I just wanted to make this a short video and just give some basic things here. This doesn't necessarily prove anything. It doesn't answer all of the questions that there can be. And I'm not going to waste my time trying to, prove anything. I feel like God's word is enough for me and what my own eyes see. And if you've been on an airplane before, which I've been on lots of airplanes before, you need to take into consideration that the most of the windows, all of the windows on the airplanes are fisheye windows. It's like a fisheye lens. And so many of the high altitude balloon footage and things like that will be using a fisheye lens camera and type of thing. So if you think that you are seeing curvature, then the next time you're in an airplane, take a string with you and put it across the window. Put it across the window at the horizon line and see if it's as curved as you think it is. Because our brains cause visual disturbance, and you will see a lot of times what you expect to see. I've lived on the Great Plains all of my life, and I have never seen curvature. And I have been in airplanes a lot, and I never perceived curvature. Now, if you have perceived curvature, I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but please don't say that I'm wrong either, okay? Because we're both perceiving things differently. So, my point here is that we need to be kind to one another. If it makes you angry, some of this stuff, then check your heart and find out where that anger is actually coming from. Because I am not presenting this in a way that is trying to belittle anybody or make anybody feel bad or anger anybody. I'm just presenting the information that I see. Okay. So I would just ask that you consider it and pray about it, look up the Bible verses, and just start critically looking at the world around you and ask the Lord to reveal to you what his creation is and why someone would want to deceive the whole world on what that creation actually is. Because wouldn't it be easier for people to believe that they're not special and that they're just a drop in the bucket of the universe and there isn't really a caring creator over them, watching over them, if they can convince them that they're on some globe flying through space? So those are just my thoughts, and I thank you for watching. Please do leave some comments below. Again, be kind. If you are unkind, I'll delete your comment. Just putting that out there. So please do be kind. Leave questions. If there's something that we should look at, then I would be thrilled to. So anyway, thank you. And remember, you can make it through the dust storms of life with God's divine help.